Some monsters hide in the darkness. Others are the darkness. Long before vampires haunted castles, before werewolves stalked moonlit forests, before ghosts whispered through abandoned halls, there was another nightmare. One born not from death, but from shame. A creature imprisoned beneath the earth. A beast that waited in silence while its victims wandered helplessly toward it. This is the legend of the Minotaur. And according to ancient Greek myth, somewhere beneath the island of Crete, there once existed a maze so vast that no one who entered it ever found the way back. Only the monster did. The story begins with King Minos, ruler of the wealthy island kingdom of Crete. When his right to the throne was challenged, Minos prayed to the sea god Poseidon for a sign. He promised that if Poseidon sent him a magnificent white bull from the sea, he would sacrifice it in the god's honor. Poseidon answered. Out of the waves emerged an impossibly beautiful white bull, unlike any creature the world had ever seen. And when Minos laid eyes upon it, greed overcame devotion. The king decided the bull was simply too magnificent to destroy. Instead, he secretly sacrificed an ordinary animal and kept the divine bull for himself. Gods are not known for overlooking broken promises. Poseidon devised a punishment that would haunt Crete for generations. Rather than striking Minos directly, the sea god cursed someone he loved, his wife, Queen Pasiphae. The curse twisted her mind with an unnatural obsession for the sacred bull. Unable to resist the madness forced upon her, she sought the help of the legendary inventor Daedalus. He created one of mythology's strangest inventions, a hollow wooden cow covered in real hide. Pasiphae climbed inside. What happened afterward became one of Greek mythology's darkest secrets. Months later, the queen gave birth, but it was no human child. It entered the world crying with the voice of an infant and bellowing with the roar of a bull. Its strength surpassed any ordinary human. Its hunger could never truly be satisfied. The child became known as the Minotaur. At first, the creature was hidden away inside the royal palace. But as it grew, so did its violence. It tore apart anything placed near it. Animals vanished. Servants disappeared. The halls echoed with terrified screams. Whatever humanity may have existed within the creature slowly gave way to something primal, something driven only by rage and an endless craving for flesh. King Minos realized there could be no prison strong enough to contain it. So once again, he turned to Daedalus. The inventor was ordered to create something unlike anything the world had ever seen. Not merely a prison, a nightmare. The Labyrinth. Deep beneath the palace at Knossos, Daedalus constructed a maze so vast and bewildering that even he was said to have struggled finding the exit after it was completed. Passages twisted into circles. Dead ends led to hidden chambers. Stairways climbed, only to descend again. Some corridors were so similar that travelers could wander for days without realizing they had walked the same path again and again. There were no windows, no sunlight, only endless stone. The air was cold. The silence was absolute, except for the sound of heavy breathing somewhere beyond the next corner. The Minotaur was sealed inside, not chained, not caged, simply allowed to roam, waiting. Years passed. Then, war came between Crete and the great city of Athens. Crete emerged victorious. As punishment, King Minos demanded a tribute so horrifying that its memory has survived for over 3,000 years. 14 innocent people. Not soldiers, not criminals, children and young adults. They were loaded onto ships and carried across the sea to Crete. The people knew where they were going. No celebration greeted them. No trial awaited them. Only a staircase descending into the darkness. The great stone doors would close behind them. And then, silence. Some may have tried to stay together. Others probably panicked and ran. Perhaps they called each other's names until the echoes became impossible to distinguish from distant footsteps. Imagine wandering for hours, then days, your torch growing dim, your stomach empty, every intersection looking exactly the same. You hear something scrape against the stone, then nothing. You convince yourself it was only your imagination, until you hear breathing. Closer now. You begin to run. So does whatever is chasing you. Then, a roar. Ancient writers rarely describe what happened next. Perhaps they didn't need to. Everyone already knew. No one ever returned. As the years went on, stories spread across the ancient world. Some claimed the Minotaur had become almost supernatural, that it could navigate the maze without thinking, that it somehow knew exactly where every frightened victim was hiding. Some whispered it enjoyed the hunt more than the kill, that it would stalk its prey for hours before revealing itself, allowing terror to do half the work. Others claimed they occasionally heard screams rising from beneath the palace at night. Not one scream, many. As though every victim who had ever entered the labyrinth still wandered its endless halls, unable to escape. Eventually, among the latest tribute from Athens came a young prince named Theseus, son of King Aegeus. Unlike the others, Theseus had volunteered. He intended not merely to survive, but to end the nightmare forever. When Princess Ariadne, daughter of King Minos, learned of his plan, she secretly fell in love with the brave prince. Knowing no one could escape the maze alone, she gave Theseus a simple gift: a ball of thread and a dagger. One end remained outside the entrance. The other stayed in his hand as he walked into the darkness. Every step deeper into the maze left behind a lifeline, a path home. The stone doors closed behind him. The hunt had begun. No one knows how long he wandered. Hours, perhaps longer. Then, from somewhere ahead, a roar shook the tunnels. Theseus followed the sound, until finally he saw it. The Minotaur, waiting. Some ancient accounts say the beast charged immediately. Others claimed it stared at him first, as though recognizing that this human was different from all the others. Then came the battle. There were no magical weapons, no enchanted armor, only a man and a monster. The clash echoed through the endless halls. Stone trembled beneath their feet. Finally, after a desperate struggle, Theseus forced the creature to the ground and killed it, ending the terror that had consumed the labyrinth for years. Following Ariadne's thread, he escaped the maze along with the surviving Athenian youths. For the first time, the labyrinth fell silent. But Theseus' victory would not bring an end to tragedy. He fled Crete with Ariadne and the surviving Athenians, beginning the long voyage home. Before Theseus had left Athens, he had made a promise to his father, King Aegeus. If he survived the labyrinth, the ship would return flying white sails. If the Minotaur had killed him, the black sails would remain. But in the celebration of the journey home, Theseus forgot. As the ship approached Athens, the black sails were still raised. From the cliffs above the sea, Aegeus saw the vessel approaching. He searched desperately for the promised white sails. There were none. Believing his son had died somewhere inside the labyrinth, the devastated king threw himself from the cliffs into the waters below. Those waters would forever bear his name, the Aegean Sea. Theseus had returned home a hero, but his victory over the monster had already claimed one final life. Yet legends have a strange habit of refusing to die. And there is one place on Crete where the legend becomes particularly difficult to forget. Beneath the Masara plain lies an enormous network of ancient underground passages, chambers, dead ends, corridors twisting through the darkness. For centuries, travelers who entered this place wondered whether they had discovered the labyrinth itself. Today it is known as the Labyrinth of Masara. And although the Minotaur belongs to mythology, there is something wonderfully unsettling about knowing that somewhere beneath Crete, a labyrinth really is waiting in the dark, empty. Others believe the spirit of the Minotaur still wandered its twisting corridors, forever searching for prey that would never come. Travelers through Crete have, for centuries, pointed to ancient ruins and deep caves, wondering if somewhere below lies the forgotten prison. Its passages buried beneath thousands of years of stone. And if one day someone were to uncover an entrance, would they truly find an empty maze? Or would they hear something impossible? The slow echo of heavy footsteps, a distant snort, the scrape of horns against ancient stone, waiting patiently in the darkness, because some doors, once opened, should never be opened again.